back in the studio. So welcome back, Ben. It's good to have you back in the lineup. We missed you for a couple of weeks there, but I'm hoping that you're fully healthy and recovered from your illness and ready to rock and roll in this lineup.
I'm ready.
We had Christian last week, and it went well. Listen, he definitely held his own. But, it's good to have our slugger back in the lineup. Welcome back to Beyond the Score podcast. We are here, and it is a fun time to be talking about sports. Josh, do you have to agree with me on this one, or do you not have to agree? I don't know. I said that completely improperly,
yeah,
but that's okay.
It's a fun time in the sports world. I mean, even if you're not a Thunder fan, you're not a
We lost Josh. We lost Josh.
Josh, we lost you.
We lost him.
Your microphone just went out.
But that's okay. While he's fixing his mic.
No, I don't think that was me.
Oh, I think it was, good sir. Maybe not. Now I can hear you.
But go ahead and finish what you were saying, Josh.
Maybe it was the internet. Who knows?
Yeah, no, it's all good. Whether you're even if you're not a Thunder fan, a Pacer fan, a Panther fan, or an Oiler fan, this has been a great set of finals. At the same time, not on the same day, which shout out to those two sports for making that work.
Do yourselves a favor if you're a fan of hockey and basketball yet not watching these series for any other reason other than the fact that you're just not a fan of the teams playing, go watch. These are some of the most fun series that I've been able to watch in a long time. And that's because when you have teams like, let's say in the NBA, where a team like the Pacers, who was basically written off before the series even began, and they're where they're at. And then in another series where I think consensusly speaking, maybe, and I could be wrong, but it felt like a lot of people, and that could be because I'm in South Florida, that a lot of people believe that the Panthers were going to repeat this season, yet the Oilers, they're holding their own too. And so it shows you that these finals, they're a lot of fun to watch. We're going to break down exactly why they're so much fun to watch, and we're going to start with hockey because there's one bad man on this planet, and his name is Leon Draisaitl, and he loves scoring game winners in overtime for his team. He's done that twice now in these Stanley Cup finals. Kudos to him because it felt like in that whole entire overtime, the Panthers were just putting pressure, and they were just shooting the ball. Shooting the ball. Look at me. Look at where my head's at. Shooting that puck. Yeah, I'm stuck between two finals. Shooting the puck viciously, and they were holding their own, that Oilers defense. One quick change, you see Draisaitl come right off that bench, gets that puck, quick little move, bang, overtime win. A second one. And it was so much fun to watch. I mean, as much as I'm rooting for these Panthers, seeing those fans who walked out of that stadium because their team was down 4-3 with under a minute left, and then their team tied it. I would have thought South Florida, you would have learned your lesson. I really would have thought.
That's not even the full story.
Well,
because it was 3-0 after the first, Panthers, and then it was 3-3 after the second, then it was 4-3. Then the Panthers had a miraculous goal by Samson Reinhart, and then.
Nice job using his full name, by the way. I like that.
I love that fact that his name is Samson. I call him Samson every time.
But the point is, they were leaving the arena during the last couple of minutes of the fourth quarter when they were down 4-3. They couldn't fathom seeing their team lose, yet
You're really stuck between these finals with that fourth quarter.
Third period. I'm sorry. I was actually, listen, I've been watching a lot.
You got to get a puck and a basketball and just hold up which one we're talking about.
I've been watching a lot. I've been watching the finals in the NBA. I've been watching the Stanley Cup finals. I've been watching, baseball, Yankees. I've been even watching some other teams just to get a sense of where some of these players are on other rosters. So there's been a lot of sports on my TV, and it definitely throws me off a little bit. But what I'm trying to say is, we saw years ago, when the Heat were playing the Spurs in the finals, and the fans started leaving, and that's the same game in Game 6 where Ray Allen hit that absolutely insane three-pointer to win the game, right? Yeah. You would have thought, South Florida, you would have learned by now. You don't leave until the game ends, because at 20 seconds, you saw what Reinhart did, right? He tied the game. He gave you a chance, and I mean, that whole overtime, you probably felt really good as a Panthers fan, thinking any second now you're going to score, but didn't happen. And It was crazy because I texted you last night. I said, for some reason, I think Draisaitl's going to score a goal. I took that in the start of the game, before the game started.
Didn't I also send you a few hours before I sent you Draisaitl's youth stats, and then you were like, he's got to do some of that.
You did send me that, and I said, listen, he's got to show up. I mean, he did in the first game. You can't blame the guy for where they were at, down 2-1, and then obviously the great goal to tie up that series, send it back to Edmonton, just goes to show you what kind of player he is. And at any moment you forget about him, guess what? He'll make you pay. And that's what he did. And that's why the Panthers are now facing a situation where they felt good, taking a game in Edmonton. Now they lost a game in Florida, and they got to go back to Edmonton for a big Game 5 that probably will be a huge deciding factor in terms of who's going to win, right? I mean, we could look at the percentages. You win Game 5, there's a good chance you're winning that series. Panthers need this, yet Oilers now back in top with, the home ice advantage. Let's not make another error with the field and the ice. I don't want to.
And they've proven they can win in Florida now. Like after that 6-1 game, even if they lost in overtime or they lost in regulation and it wasn't a blowout, you would say, oh, it doesn't matter if the Oilers win Game 5, Panthers in 6. Like you would have felt like they couldn't win in that arena. Now you feel like Edmonton has the ball in their court because they have confidence going into Florida. They're going home.
The ball in their court?
Yeah.
I thought it was the puck on their ice.
I was being punny, but I'll wear it.
Well, I had to make the correction. I was getting corrected here left and right, so.
No, I'm not crucifying you. I'm just saying I'll wear it.
Okay, good. And so, keep going. I was listening to that great punny moment you put out there.
It's just been incredible, man. It seems like the Oilers push things back in their favor, but this Game 5 is everything because if Florida comes and wins in Edmonton again, you feel like they're going to feel so good coming home. And you feel like if Edmonton wins at home, then it's going to be very hard to beat them twice. So
Edmonton has the momentum. It's safe to say, winning this game in that fashion, now going back home. It's exciting. It's an exciting cup, that's for sure. Go Panthers, but at the same time, the Oilers are doing their own thing. This is a rivalry of the best, when you have two countries really going at it at this point. We know we're going to have another game back here in South Florida, so regardless of the fact is, Oilers do need to win that game because if they lose and the Panthers come back home 3-2, I think they wrap it up in Florida in Sunrise. If this game goes 3-2 in Edmonton's favor, really anything can happen in Game 6 at that point. So we'll see. I mean, it's been an electric series. Other than that Game 3, that was a blowout. It just seemed like that game was, Edmonton might have still been in Edmonton for that game, and they, left their A game back home, but it got there for Game 4 and ultimately tied up the series. So they can go back and now enjoy this tied series. Obviously, 2 games out of the next 3 would be in Edmonton's ice. So that'll definitely give them a huge advantage for the rest of the series, but you can never really count out them Panthers. So, we're excited to keep bringing you guys some of the greatest hockey moments that we're seeing in these series, and Draisaitl has done that twice for us so far. So maybe Connor McDavid for the Oilers can actually do something this series for them because they really need him to, be who he is for them, right?
And it's crazy. It's crazy because in the 7 games last series, Leon didn't score a goal at all. And McDavid won the MVP while losing the cup. And now Leon feels like the one who's carrying the team in the moments that matter the most, even though they're both OT winners. One was from a McDavid feed, but there's no doubt that he had to bury it. You can't put anyone above him as being more important. And you could probably say that Corey Perry has been just as important to the success of the Oilers to this point. Because with Hyman out, he's been scoring a lot of power play goals. He has a goal, I believe, in 2 of the games. And then in the last series, I think he had 3 or 4 goals as well.
Well, here's the thing. When the Panthers have as much depth as you have, and your star player is not playing where he's at, and the series is still 2-2, it only takes 1 game for him to just turn it up. And if Connor McDavid brings his game back on Edmonton, this series could end in 6 pretty easily. Yeah. He just needs to do what he's got to do best, which is be the best player on that ice. which we all know him to be. I think definitively speaking, you could say Connor McDavid is the best player between both teams. So go out there and do why, we call you the best between those two teams. Score a goal. It might not necessarily have to be scoring a goal, but be a presence on that roster that
Absolutely.
And I'm not saying he's not a presence. I should take that away. But on the ice itself, you need to do more. Safe to say. Correct?
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
Without a doubt.
So, game 5 is going to be, I believe, a couple days. I don't know when that is. But I think by the time we're back in studio, the series should be over. And we'll be able to kind of give you guys a recap of what we believe was the good and the bad from both sides of the ice.
Yeah, and what caused the result. And I think that no matter what this whoever's invested in watching this series, even if you're not on a side, I think that you've gotten I don't want to say your money's worth because it doesn't cost anything outside of additional on top of what you're already paying for TV to be able to watch. But now, like, you're just getting everything that you could ask for. And I don't think that anybody would have scoffed at the fact that it would have been 2-2 at this point, but I don't think they would have thought it would have gone the way it has.
The competition level has been A+ in hockey, and it's showing. The competition level in basketball, in my opinion, has also been A+. And we can get kind of into that series as well, too, because it's been a finals that I think a lot of people are shocked to see where the overall record is right now, 2-1 Pacers advantage. And, people have to realize that basketball is played in a way that's very unique in the sense that teamwork and chemistry is so important. So important. Nobody's saying the Thunder don't have it because I think the Thunder have the best. But I think what the Pacers are doing specifically in the fourth quarter of games, it's shocking. It really is. But you see it. You see that the continuity is there.
Yeah.
This series is far from over. And I think people have to understand that we've seen many teams come back from a 2-1 deficit.
Yeah.
The Thunder are still favored to win this finals, and they still have the best player on the court. I think the best player on the court, similar to hockey, needs to step up in the sense that he needs to start putting that ball through the net. As much as, listen, and I've seen it happen where you, as a fan of the Cavs and as a fan of Donovan Mitchell, where sometimes where you prioritize your scoring, it's not always best, but it's all situational.
Yeah,
and they need SGA to be the number one threat because when he's the number one threat, the Pacers are going to start acting differently on the defense. Sure. And that's going to lead to a lot more opportunities because we've seen Jalen Williams be very inconsistent these playoffs, these finals. And that is solely because the Thunder have done an overall good job of containing SGA. You can't stop the guy. It's impossible. But if you can contain him at times of the game, that'll help you win a game. And that's what they're doing. And so SGA needs to, and I know he's capable of this, and as much as the Pacers have been very good this season and these postseason, the SGA should be able to blow past these guys and do what he needs to do. But I think his game plan needs to change. It's nothing to do with the fact that he's not able to do what he wants. I think going into these first 3 games, as much as, yes, scoring is important for him, he also wants to facilitate and get the rebounds and be everywhere on the court for the team. I think going into game 4, that needs to change, and he needs to be the scorer that we know he can be, and he's more than capable of dropping a 40-piece on this team. So if he can put that in his mindset, I would go and aim for that SGA.
Yeah, I think that it's pretty similar performance to game 1. I mean, we gotta play exactly the way we played in game 1, except for the last 6 minutes. Because even if you let it dwindle down from 15, from 20, you could still stop the bleeding. Shea had 38, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Exactly what you're saying. Not really worrying about much else because against this team, he needs to just be a bucket getter, and he's getting steals. He's getting
SGA had 38 points last game.
No, in the first game.
Oh, okay, yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, no, last game he did not. But so I think he's gonna come out. He's gonna have a great performance. I think a lot of Jalen Williams' inconsistencies have shown that it's almost like the Pacers are asking him to shoot, asking him to have as many shots as Shea, and you could see Shea's shots have went down from 30 to 21 to 20, and that's something that you don't want to see. And with the Thunder, I'm not worried, but they Rick Carlisle is putting on a coaching clinic against Mark Dejanot. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his last name right. Even as a
I think
Thunder
it's
fan, but
I think it's like Dagenham.
Dagenot. Yeah, you're
Dagenham,
right.
something like
Yeah,
that.
you're right. I got too French with it, but I think he's getting absolutely outcoached, and it seems like he's, by the way, he's changing his lineups and mixing things up. It seems like he's panicking in the off days, but then coming out fake macho on the day of and standing on business when business doesn't really need to be stood on, when instead we need a guy who's gonna lead and make the right moves. And um I don't know, maybe it's time to start Caruso, maybe it's time to get back to the two bigs, but it's definitely not time to continue this lineup.
The two bigs I think are very important because Chet, when you have Hartenstein playing big minutes in that game, he's able to do more. I think as a primary big on the court, we've seen, especially in game 4, a lot of errors that he made. Oh, I'm sorry, in game 3, a lot of errors that he made. Took some bad shots, held the ball a little too long at certain times, where they have a really good relationship between Chet and Hartenstein on the court, where we've seen similar things that I've seen as a Cavs fan between Mobley and Jared Allen, where they get each other the ball alley-oops. And Chet could do that from 15 foot out and see Hartenstein cutting in, throwing the ball, and he's going to get an easy 2 points, whether it's a slam dunk or grabbing a ball from the air and putting it in for an easy 2 points. I think that would be one of the things that the Thunder should also consider. Listen, I'm not the coach, and I think Dagenham is a great coach, and he knows what he's doing with his lineup. But the Thunder definitely need to do a little change, whether it's, game plan, having SGA be more aggressive, or a lineup change. This series is far from over in the sense that if the Thunder win this game, I think, people are going to start going back to we knew this was going to happen, and then the whole entire story changes. Now, one thing I don't like is how prior to the series starting, it was Thunder in 4, Thunder 5, Thunder in 6. Nobody had the Pacers winning, but now when the Pacers won game 1, people started changing their opinions a little bit. Pacers won game 3, people are, starting to talk a little bit.
Magically, you see bet slips come out that were not shown before the series.
Exactly. And I've seen a couple of people who have put in bet slips prior to, even prior to the playoffs starting. So you give them credit for as far as they've gone.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the people who are up there on the top, these reporters, you see the switch up real quick. These people were Thunder bandwagoners throughout the whole entire regular season and throughout the whole entire postseason, but now they're switching up. Why is the switch up? Well, because the Pacers are playing great basketball. I don't think anyone thought the Pacers were as good as they were. I 100% believe that, right? The Pacers are better than anyone expected them to be. Being a team that lost to them in the second round of the playoffs, I saw that earlier on than some of these other people did because I watched 5 games of the Pacers and the Cavs play, and my team got absolutely dominated that series. Whether or not you want to say the Cavs were slightly banged up, Garland didn't play a couple games, and Mobley, and whatever the case is, we were dominated that series. The Pacers took us and ran. And so they did that with the Knicks. They did that with the Bucks. And now they're up 2-1 against the Thunder, and you got to put respect on them because this is a legitimate team. And I'm not saying the Thunder took them for granted in the first 3 games, and that's the reason why they're down 2-1. I think it's because the Pacers are a very good team, and they're able to make some huge adjustments late in games that have helped them secure wins. I mean, the first 2 games of the series, they were leading about 90 seconds of it, right? So that's a huge discrepancy. Tyrese Halliburton hitting a miraculous shot that he's done every single round in the playoffs, but that's not enough to beat this Thunder team. They need to play for a 7-game series every game with this much intensity for them to have a chance. Now, if they slip up a game, Thunder take the advantage, and now you're in a dangerous spot if you're the Pacers. I had the Thunder in 6 games for the start of these playoffs, or for the start of this series. I'm not changing from that. I still think the Thunder could win the next 3 games relatively easily. Is it going to happen as likely as it was when the season started for me? Maybe not. I didn't think the Thunder would be down 2-1 at any point, but I also believe that the Thunder are more than capable of winning these next 3 games in a row.
Yeah.
They could either win them close or they could either blow them out. It depends on how well they strategize against this Pacers team. Rick Carlisle, great head coach. We know it. He's won a championship with the Mavericks. He was an underdog that series too. But, listen, basketball is great when you have 2 teams playing at their top tier peak. People just need to go and watch and give them the credit that they deserve because this is a great series. This is a great
For sure.
series, and so it is for
And
hockey and basketball.
not for nothing, I feel like it would be kind of a disservice to what this finals is if the series went if the I mean obviously as a Thunder fan I don't want to lose the next 2 games, but like for this series to only be 5 games would be a disservice to the basketball fans who actually gave it a chance. And I think the Thunder are a very interesting team. They're now 0-3 in their last game threes. They lost by 42 to the Timberwolves in game 3, and I think they lost in overtime by 9 to the Nuggets, and now they lost by 9 as well.
They also lost to the Grizzlies too.
No, they didn't.
Oh, they lost game 4, was it?
No, we swept them, but
Oh, that's true.
that was game 3 was the one that we were down and Ja got injured at half.
Right. Okay. Yes. So it felt like it at some point when they were
Oh,
down
it
by
felt like
30.
yeah,
I think they were down by like 33 or that during that game.
yeah. Game 3 is just not the sauce for us, but we've come back and won game 4. But the interesting stat that I saw this morning was the Pacers are 3-0 in game 4s, but the Thunder don't lose back-to-back games, which is something I always preach that the
Something's got to give.
Thunder have lost back-to-back games. I'm actually looking at this. I thought they lost against the back-to-back against the Nuggets, but I guess they didn't. So they've only lost back-to-back games twice this entire season, and that was once in April against Luka's Lakers and the Rockets, and then I don't remember who it was against in November, but that happened too. Other than that, back-to-back games, they've made the proper adjustments to get the ship right.
They're the best team in the NBA for a reason. They have the best record, and they got through the playoffs relatively easily, as much as that won 7 games against the Nuggets. I kind of felt like the Thunder had that for the most part. Even when they were down, they were down in that series 2-1. They came back and they won that. So I would have said the Nuggets are a better team if they didn't have a coaching discrepancy against the Pacers. But then again, I think, looking as well as the Pacers have played this series, this playoffs, really, they probably would have beaten the Nuggets too. But the Thunder I would say, their backs are not against the wall. I would say if they were down 3-1, their backs are against the wall. Right now, it's close, but
game time, showtime.
A win, in game 4 will change everything. That will be huge. You go back to Oklahoma City for game 5. And if you win that game, which I would believe you would, then you go to, game 6 in Indiana. At that point, you have the home court advantage. And so whether it's going to go 6 or 7, you would feel pretty confident that the Thunder are going to be able to get the job done. Safe to say in both of these final series, the best player on the field needs to step up for their respective teams. Agreed. For them to capitalize. Now, I'm not rooting for the Oilers. We already know that. But it's just a fact for the best players on these respective ices and fields or courts, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. SGA and Connor McDavid, this is a message for both of you. Step up, baby. It's time to rock and roll for your teams.
Hell yeah, put up or shut up, boys.
Let's get it done. Now, someone who is completely stepped up for his team. The best player in baseball, hands down. We can't say his name enough on this podcast, Mr. Aaron Judge. And I mean, it's a lot of fun being a Yankee fan, just watching every single at-bat of his. If I'm on a phone call, I put that phone down for a couple of minutes just to watch that at-bat. If I'm eating food, I'll stop and I'll watch, because you can't turn your eyeballs away from that screen when Aaron Judge is at that plate. What he's doing, going back to even last season, I mean, the stretch. You want to look at the 162-game stretch, however it is. He's putting up the most insane numbers. And it's not even close. I mean, we haven't seen, and when I say we, I'm saying baseball fans have not seen someone of this caliber offensively do what he has done since a steroids Barry Bonds.
Yeah.
And maybe even this is better than that, because he's not doing steroids.
Yeah.
So if you're going to compare these two completely different generations, and we all know pitchers have evolved a lot quicker than hitters have evolved, or they have more of an evolution than the hitters have. And we've seen that pitchers have gotten better, hitters have gone worse, historically speaking. To do what he's doing now in 2025, and if we can say the conversation is between two players, him and Shohei, the numbers are completely botched. I mean, he's crushing Shohei in every single category. It's not even close.
Yeah, I think the debate's over.
The debate should have never even started.
When he was pitching, I think it was reasonable.
When he was pitching, he was also not as good of a hitter. I mean, he was a great hitter, but his numbers, I mean, he was definitely not. When he won MVP with the Angels, I think he batted like 267 that season. He hit 40 home runs and had like 100 ribbies and stole 30 bases and played great defense too, or above average defense too, whenever he was in the field. But it wasn't batting 300, let alone 390. 390, I think he's at 392 right now.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's not comparable. It's not comparable. And so, regardless of the fact that even if Shohei is going to go pitch, the guy doesn't play the field. Can we not look at that and say, well, that's irrelevant, basically? Shohei doesn't play right field anymore or any other position. He's a DH, and he could pitch.
Yeah.
But he hasn't pitched in 2 years.
Yeah.
And we don't know if he's going to actually pitch consistently over the next 8.5 years. So why are we having this conversation? I don't even want to talk about Shohei anymore. I want to talk about how great Aaron Judge is. You might have a couple of things you want to say about Shohei, but
I'm all right.
This is not even a debate. I mean, look at the numbers, right?
Fake ass World Series arm sling did it for me.
He's got a 1264 OPS, 776 slugging percentage. The second best in baseball is Cal Raleigh at 629. He's got a 488 on base percentage. Second best is Will Smith, 427. He's batting 392. He's got 25 home runs, 58 ribbies. He leads in every major stat, most hits, plays great defense. He's a leader on and off the field. He's a generational talent, and he wears pinstripes. Multiple MVPs. He's got 2, on his way to a 3rd. Rookie of the Year, multiple Silver Sluggers, multiple All-Star appearances. I think eventually a Gold Glove will be on his horizon. It would be a beautiful thing to be able to wrap up a Gold Glove for him. Sure. He's a great defender, and I mean, the last few years, he's been in the top 3 to finish a Gold Glove. He's just never been able to get that, first place. But we know where he's at defensively. This guy's ended his season in 1 year because he was making incredible defensive play. Let's not go back to that, but we know what he's willing to do in order to get the job done for his team. And he does it in the best fashion. And you don't want to compare greatness, but watching him play, it's almost like a comfort versus prior Yankee greats. I'm not going to say captains. I'm not going to say any specifics. I'm saying greats. There's a comfort because when he goes up to the plate, I think every single or most pitchers, whether they want to admit it or not, are pretty terrified of the fact that he's at that plate.
Yeah, they're like, just get this over with, man.
I think when they see their manager go like this, it's a relief for them.
Yeah,
it's a relief. They're like, oh, we don't have to pitch to this guy. Let him go to first base. That's much better than whatever we would do to him anyway.
Yeah, for sure. Agreed.
Now, one thing I don't understand, the one thing he's terrible at. Aaron Judge is horrible at one thing. Horrible. And I don't understand why Aaron Boone keeps using him in this fashion. Because it's unnecessary. Just give him the goddamn day off. He's a terrible pinch hitter. He's 1 for 18 in his career pinch hitting.
Yeah.
Don't pinch hit him, man. Give him the day off. Give him the day off.
I'm so with that. I feel like every time I watch him pinch it, I feel like I'm like, oh, it's Aaron Judge, and then I'm like, oh, like it's over. It's over so fast usually too.
Well, he did send it to a full count, and honestly, you want to blame the umpires for that terrible call. I mean, I don't know if you saw that at bat that he had in the 8th inning, maybe it was the 7th. It was the 7th inning where 2-2 count. I forgot who was pitching. Threw a pitch, called ball. Down and in, right? Close to a strike. Depending on how the catcher sets up, you could get that a call. The same exact pitch on 3-2. Same location. If you saw it on the map, it was identical. The ball landed at the same spot. Called strike. How? And this is the same umpire, and I'm bad with umpire names, but this is the same umpire that called 2 of Trent Grisham's catches drops. And they had to review it to overturn the call. Consistency is key for the umpires. It doesn't matter for Aaron Judge. He's never going to be a pinch hitter for the long term. He's going to be in this lineup very long, very consistently, and he's doing some incredible things. And as a Yankee fan, you can't take it for granted because he is a special, special athlete. And the only thing that would derail anything, and this is nothing on him because this is baseball, has got 26 men on the roster, is winning that World Series. And we hope he gets to do that multiple times. We know how hard it is to win a World Series now in 2025. In the last 25 years, we haven't seen back-to-back World Series since the Yankees did in the late 90s. We know how difficult it is. So even just getting one will show how big of a feature that is for him in all his record books.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. I think that I think the home run against Class A in the playoffs would have been way more hyped if the error in the World Series didn't happen, even if we didn't win. I just think that everyone needs their not needs. Everyone wants to have their thing to harp on him about, and fine. Like, he should have made that play. But for all of the things he's bailed the team out of, for all of the things that he's done to almost put on a superhero cape, the real fans say that sucked, but that's all good. Like, one play doesn't define a season, and no matter what, we stand with our captain.
Our captain, the best captain, regardless of if you're a Yankee fan or not, I think you could appreciate the fact that he is definitely the best baseball player, unless you're a Dodgers fan who thinks that you have the best baseball player on your team. Whatever the case is, the numbers speak volume. And Aaron Judge is putting up some of the most historical numbers that anybody has seen, and he's doing it at a pace that is unprecedented. So continue being you, because you are the greatest baseball player on the face of this planet. I'll say this till the day I die. And, I can't wait to see you during the season. Hopefully I get a couple of games up there because I haven't gone to a game this season, and I'm itching over here. So hopefully I get to go to a couple of games this season and actually get to see him. Hopefully it's not on a day off. Hopefully Aaron Boone doesn't give him many of those. But 25, 58, 392 batting average. He's chasing a triple crown this season. He's chasing a 400 batting average. What else do you need?
Yeah.
Best player.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Best player. So we'll wrap up over there, and we'll wrap up with the baseball and the basketball and the hockey for the day, and we'll get right into our question, which is coming from our esteemed Matt. Ben.
Hey.
You ready?
What's up, everybody? I'm here. I'm here.
It was actually funny because you weren't here last week. We also didn't have a question last week.
Oh, it just worked out that you didn't have a question?
It just worked out. We didn't have a question last week. And so, I wasn't sure how we were going to incorporate Christian into this, but...
so they just worked out, I guess.
It worked out in the sense that we just didn't have a question. So we do have a question this week.
I see it.
It's coming from our number one fan.
What's up, Matt? Good to see you. Missed you last week. I'm back. So Matt's question is, I know you guys talked about Trey Hendricks last week, but I'd love to know your thoughts on Shamar Stewart. I feel like the Bengals are trying to strong arm a 21-year-old.
So first off, I just want to say that I think this might be the first time we're covering the four major sports in some sort of capacity, right? We did hockey, we did baseball, we did basketball, and now we have a football question. So it kind of worked out pretty well. Matt, thank you for that question. Josh, you want to start off with this time?
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is a situation where, first off, before I give my opinion on it, I think it's important to understand that while the Bengals have done a lot of things wrong over the years, this is a situation that they're not the only team that does this. There aren't really players that speak up on it, and maybe they just want a ball. Maybe they're so excited they're not doing it. But now we're in a day of age where you're getting paid in college and you're reading all the contracts that these guys are getting a little savvier, and you can't have stipulations that'll take away guaranteed money. And with that being said, I think that um the Bengals are in the wrong. Like, I'm not trying to say that that Shamar Stewart is in the wrong. I don't really necessarily like the swag about it, the way, because if it were me and I wanted to show them that I was worth the guaranteed money, I'd go practice, and then if a game came around, I'd say no. Or maybe me, I would still play because I'm making millions of dollars to play sport. But I understand the nature of the business. I'm not judging him for doing what he's doing, but I think you have to show them what they're missing, especially with Trey Hendrickson gone. If you can make a real impact in practice, the guys are going to say, "Yo, just get this guy here, whatever it takes." And now you also are hurting the chances of getting, if you work this out, of getting a second contract with him. So it's just an absolutely terrible situation to put yourself in when you're also in a deadlock with your star defensive end. I mean, how I don't really know how much worse it could get for the Bengals defense. I think this has to work out and Hendrickson has to work out, or at least Hendrickson has to work out. But I think that the contracts that they gave to their last two top picks did not have the language of that he's being given, and they were picked after him. So I think that I don't think that he's wrong for doing what he's doing, but I do think that I would just go ball or maybe just put up videos of himself working out or doing the drills, just showing that he's still game ready and wants to make an impact. And yeah, I want to hear what you think.
Yeah, I think we're in a very weird spot when it comes to football. The truth is correct in terms of the language that was written in these contracts. Last year, they drafted Amarius Mims at 18, and they drafted Stewart this year at 17. So one off, but this language wasn't in Mims's contract. And I think Stewart's taking exception for the fact that is he going to be the first one? Is he like this test dummy for all these future contracts to be given out? And he wants to stand strong for players and himself, obviously, and get what he believes is deserved on a rookie contract. When you're a first round pick, you get a 4-year contract that's guaranteed. You get all that money no matter what. The thing is, where we're heading right now in the nature of the NFL, I don't know if it's a good thing because now all these guys are going to get paid a ton of money in college, and they were already getting a decent amount before with these NIL deals, and now the schools can pay them directly. It less incentivizes these guys to actually want to make this commitment from college to the NFL and understand that, listen, this is not the same level of football. And if you want to bring that sense of, oh, I already have financial taken care of, and now I'm going to go here with my head held high and, fight for every penny that I can potentially get and have holdouts, well, it's not going to be good for the team. Yeah. It's not going to be good for the players. And we've seen that already happen in past deals where, players are willing to hold out on their final year of contracts if they don't get an extension. And I think this is just going to add to this by the fact that these college players are going to get paid a ton of money now, probably more money while they're playing college than they would have gotten over a rookie deal, unless you're maybe the first overall or first 5 overall picks. And so, that worries me because if you're going to get paid so much and now you're going to the NFL and you're going to get paid less to go do it, are you going to really want to go play your best brand of football? And now you might be saying, well, you should because you're going to go chase a bigger contract afterwards. But with the way things have been going, it seems like the number one thing is let me get my bag now and then I'll worry about whatever happens afterwards instead of actually going to play and deserve a contract.
Yeah.
Which on a final year of a contract could definitely affect the overall number. So if you want to extend on 3 years in on a deal when you have another year and you'll hold out, well, maybe if you go play that 4th year and actually go ball out, you'll get paid more money. Yeah. I don't know. It seems like a pretty logical thought if you ask me.
Yeah, and I also think that the money that the college kids and the rookies are making is now life-changing compared to in the past. It wasn't always as life-changing over the course of a single year, let alone the entire contract. So you can really you can milk out your college a little more, especially since you can't go right from high school. So you can really milk that out and maybe you're comfortable. Maybe you want to chase a championship because if you're a really good player, you might have a couple years of struggles where you're not going to be winning and you're looking at it like, look, I'm making money. I'll worry about the NFL when I worry about the NFL, and then also they look at it like they're not necessarily, while it's not the highest level of football, I'm still taking care of financially. I don't know. I feel like I repeated myself, but I'm agreeing with you that the money is crazy and it could it could end up being something that I don't really know how you fix it, honestly, because the money's getting so big where Trey Hendrickson's contract in his final year, he's getting $16 million this year. And I know that's not a rookie deal, but just an example of that. That's not good enough anymore. One year with $16 million is worth not playing for to get a bigger contract the next couple of years. Where if if you play 2 years of the next 3 year contract and you think you deserve more again, then you'll sit out the last year again, and then you probably made 90 to $100 million in his career, and he's just going to try and milk out every penny. When in reality, he'll like hopefully not soon, but he'll die and he'll have $75 million in the bank, and then what? You know?
To answer your question, I'd say probably adjust these rookie contracts, make them 2 years, and you're going to say, well, why would anyone on the player side benefit from this instead of taking 4 years? Well, considering that they're making more money now in the in collegiate, they 2 years in the NFL, you make a few $1,000,000, right? And then you can go and make more money afterwards. At least you're not tied into this 4 year deal where now you have the freedom to be able to negotiate after 2 years. And then at this point, maybe a team might say, well, how does this benefit the teams? It doesn't really seem like it's going to benefit the teams, but at least you're not dealing with these struggles with players every single offseason where you have to now renegotiate every single time whether it's not even the contract's not expired, you're renegotiating anyways, right? So now they're a free agent, and now it kind of gives you a little bit more transparency. I also want to answer Matt's question too, because I feel like I didn't really get to. I think the Bengals are in the wrong because they want to run this test trial done on their first round pick this season, and it's kind of like they're doing this rogue instead of it being something that the NFL should probably consider doing. Instead of one individual team, they shouldn't be doing this. And so I think they really do need to resolve this because for their team's standpoint, they need to figure out their defense more than ever if they really want to compete in that division. So probably shouldn't be doing this with this player. Maybe look at your second round player and consider doing this with instead of your first round player who you drafted 18th. 17th, and is supposed to be one of the biggest parts of your defensive front. So, hopefully they figure this out. I think it would be in the best interest of the Bengals more than it would be for the player because this guy's gotten paid, already some NIL money, and he's going to get paid on an NFL deal. It's just a matter about when that contract's signed, and it only hurts the team when he's not there working out currently instead of for him because he's going to get paid regardless, and it's going to end up resolving itself at the end of the day. So
I do think one thing to add to what you were saying, I think the 2 year contracts would work if there was restricted free agency after that, where you have if this guy earned his bag and another team wants to pay him, you can match that bag and say we drafted you, we see you're worth this, and we're going to give this a little bit more of an experiment and give you what you agree is what you're worth, so we don't have to deal with this and we can just ball.
I think you and I should have a conversation with Roger Goodell, and maybe then we'll open his eyes a little bit because there definitely needs to be some sort of changes. You can't have this happening every single, off season with these rookies. So this is
Mr. Goodell
hopefully going to open up the light a little bit for them.
Mr. Goodell, there are 3 seats next to my good buddy over there. Mr. Goodell, we would love to have you.
2 right here, 1 right here. Come join us. We'd love to get to your experience with this at the same time, but maybe giving some light and shed us some truth on what we can see overall over the next few years in the NFL. I'm sorry, I'm losing my words here. It's because we've run out of time here. We got to wrap up and say goodbye to our amazing fans. Matthew, thank you for that wonderful question.
As always.
Josh, let everybody know where they can find us.
Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Also follow that Instagram if you're not already. And this week, why don't you send the link when you're watching it to a friend? Tell them this is a podcast I like to watch, and I'd like you to watch it too because I think you like sports.
Let's not forget our best part of the show, our famous yogiisms. Josh, rate this one. It's a new one this week.
Are you sure?
I think so. 76% sure, so we'll see. If you don't know where you're going, you might wind up someplace else.
I'll give it a 7.5, 8.
7.5, 8. Oh my God, that's on the bottom pole for Mr. Yogi over there.
It's just because to get above a 9, I have to actually physically laugh from it. Like I can follow it along and I can enjoy it. He's never made me feel like I'm below a 7. I don't think if anyone remembers where I gave one below a 7, definitely fact check me. But I think he says funny things, inquisitive things, if you want to use that word. But that one, like, I gotta genuinely laugh to get above that, and it's funny, but it's not like
Well, I'll make sure to get some good ones that make you laugh next time. But thank you guys again for tuning into this week's episode of Beyond the Score podcast. We look forward to seeing you next week.